think we'll toss over to our wonderful correspondent, the classy Christina Loren, with another interview for you from Capitol Hill. So we'll send that over to you right now.
Timmons, you have been, I mean, you're very young to be in the position that you're in and to have made the waves that you have. You're a rising star in the Republican Party. Tell me about how what you've done in your past as a small business owner, as a prosecutor, a JAG officer. How does this all feed into this role?
Well, you know, it's a difficult job. We have such a wide variety of issues that we have to deal with. And my diverse background gives me the experience and the education necessary to help, you know, take all these different various issues that we have to deal with. And my background lets me understand them and help my colleagues understand them. And it has been rewarding to serve the people of the upstate. And, you know, we got a big 4 years ahead. This is going to be really an opportunity to change our country for a generation, and it's going to be transformational. And I'm very excited to be a part of it.
You finally have the wind in your sails. It's absolutely, it strikes me as just being such a turnaround. It's something that we wanted so much, but it's happening so fast. And a lot of changes have to be done right away in the first 100 days.
I joke that the last 6 years is like having training wheels. And, you know, the kids are taking the training wheels off the bike and we're going to be riding. We're probably going to fall once or twice, but we got to get back up and keep going. And, you know, that's the opportunity we have ahead.
The House Oversight Committee is very important. I think that when it comes to hearings, those are the most interesting hearings to watch.
Entertaining at the very least.
That's absolutely true. Tell me about your role. How do you think the Oversight Committee is going to change going into this term in particular?
Well, it's going to be less adversarial with the administration, obviously, but there's still a lot of people within the administration, within the bureaucracy that we're going to be leaning in on and trying to understand what's causing them to make decisions that they're making. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of political appointees, and they're going to be like-minded, but we're going to be investigating and helping President Trump and his incoming administration to really, I hate the word deep state, but it's a real thing. Yeah. And we're going to help root out the corruption and the bureaucrats that think that they know better than Congress, that think they know better than President Trump, and we're going to get everybody in line.
Speaking of which, you and a number of GOP leaders recently sent a letter regarding some of the attorneys, U.S. attorneys, and demanding a change there, potentially doing things differently than we've done in the past. Can you explain that to our audience?
Yeah, so when a new administration comes in, the 93 U.S. attorneys are expected to tender their resignation. And what occurs then is that there is an acting U.S. attorney, and it's their first deputy, their first assistant, becomes the acting U.S. attorney. And generally speaking, their first assistant is an ideological clone. So there's no real resignation. The U.S. attorney can be replaced with an interim U.S. attorney. It's a nuance within the law. The president or the attorney general has the ability to choose someone that is not the first assistant, that is more ideologically aligned with the incoming administration, and really it would facilitate a 180 in policy. And we've all seen the weaponization of government. We've all seen the steps that the Justice Department has taken that the American people disagree with. And they spoke loud and clear that we need to have a non-biased Justice Department. And when our institutions are being abused by a political party, there needs to be consequences. And this is just one step to fixing that and to restoring the faith that the American people have in their institutions.
And along with you on that letter, I saw names like Dan Newhouse of Washington, who's been here in D.C. for quite some time.
It was an ideologically diverse list.
Yes, it was.
You know, I don't think Dan Newhouse and Chip Roy are on many letters. You know, we had a lot of thought leaders that understand the issue. And, you know, this is the thing. It's been done before. Generally speaking, 20 to 30 acting U.S. attorneys are replaced with interim U.S. attorneys. But, you know, in South Carolina 8 years ago, it took a year and a half to get the new U.S. attorney sworn in. And during that year and a half, the acting U.S. attorney, who was ideologically aligned with the Obama administration, hired I don't know, 24 people. And some of these lawyer jobs are, I mean, you can be there for 25 years. And they did not align with the Trump administration. So we need to make sure that, one, we have a hiring freeze, I think, government-wide for 30 to 60 days, just to make sure that we can wrap our hands around everything and kind of get to work. But two, we need to replace all of the acting U.S. attorneys with interim U.S. attorneys in order to do the 180 the American people have requested at the Justice Department.
Absolutely, and this is a timely matter. 4 years, it seems like you can get a lot accomplished in that amount of time, but he learned before that there's certain things that have to be done right away. So I think that he'll probably be quite receptive to that letter. And it does speak to the diversity as well, the fact that this is important, that you have so many different people who think differently in the Republican Party, which is very diverse of thought, all aligned on this issue.
And President Trump will tell you that 8 years ago, he knew a lot about a lot of things, but he didn't really understand government.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, he got a crash course and he now understands it as well as anybody. And so I think that we're going to see a much different approach this Congress. Obviously, we only have unified government guaranteed for 2 years. And we have a one vote margin in the House and a 3-vote margin in the Senate. So, I mean, we have to get to work. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017 wasn't passed until the end of his first year in office. And I think everyone agrees that that should have been done much sooner. Yeah. So, the Speaker has said that we're hoping to have the America First tax cuts signed into law on my birthday, actually, April 30th. So we're scheduling a big party. I hope that we can get it done. We got a lot of work to do. And, I think we're going to be sprinting out the gates here on Monday.
Do you think that's going to be one bill or two bills? What is your thought?
The trick is going to be the tax provisions. There's some people that want to increase the SALT, the state and local tax deduction, from $10,000 per family or per individual to, and this is kind of crazy to me, $100,000 for an individual and $200,000 for a couple. And that's going to be a real sticking point, because I appreciate that New York and California has ridiculous taxes. Right. But if you're paying $100,000 in property taxes, you do not have problems. The American people are suffering because of the Biden administration's policies, and we need to get to work. And that can't be an impediment. We don't need to worry about people that are paying $100,000 in property taxes. They don't really have a problem. Because if you can pay $100,000 in property taxes, you got plenty of money. You're doing just fine.
I can't stress enough how much I love hearing that from you, because on the other side, you hear so often that they're trying to help the rich get richer. They're all about helping wealthy people with these tax cuts. But you're looking out for the little guy. And you're clearly all about America first, and you support President Trump's agenda. Why do you think that they use that train of thought to manipulate the American people on the left?
I think they think the American people are stupid, and they're not. They saw through all of the nonsense. Kamala Harris spent, I don't even know, $1.5 billion, and she wasn't even the candidate but for 4 or 5 months. So, I mean, if you break that down, she was, rolling out celebrities and just trying to say this, that, and the other. The things they were calling President Trump and J.D. Vance were just ridiculous. And the American people, again, they saw through it. They saw through it. They understand that the policies of the left have consequences. We're seeing it right now in California, where, the last estimate is $250 billion in damage. And, policies have consequences. When the governor of California prioritizes a fish over the safety and security of the water supply to combat fires in California, guess what? That has consequences. When the governor of California says we're not going to address the dead debris in our forests that facilitate forest fires, we're not going to do controlled burn to try to address this, to make it safer for environmental purposes. All of these things have consequences. And they're going to come and they're going to ask us to bail all these people out. And again, if you have $100,000 in property taxes, you're doing just fine. If you can afford a $30 million house and not have insurance, to cover your loss, that's on you. That's on you. So, policies have consequences. The American people are seeing through it more and more. And, the Democrat policies is probably the number one tool in Republicans' toolbox to get people to vote for Republican candidates.
Well, it's an anti-humanist way of thinking, to put the Delta smelt above human lives, the lives of children, the lives of people. You came here for the right reasons. You came to Washington, D.C. Has, over the last 6 years, or this is your 6th term, rather, has the way that you go about getting what you're trying to accomplish for your constituents, has it changed? Have you been, jaded at all by the way that things work here? And sometimes it might feel like it's difficult, it's too hard to get what you need to get passed or get bills through.
That's actually something that we're kind of grappling with right now, because the way that this place is supposed to work is merit, your education experience, your ability to perform, seniority, how long you've been here, that generally means you understand it better. And then your role on the team. Are you helpful? Are you trying to get other people elected? And, are you being a productive member of the Republican conference? That's kind of been turned upside down because, social media has a certain part in it, but also our narrow majority has a certain part in it. I always say, if you give your 5-year-old the ice cream because they kick and scream, you're going to have your 9-year-old start to think, well, okay, I just have to kick and scream and I get ice cream? Interesting. So we have a difficult challenge right now. The loudest voices are the ones that are being rewarded, and that is a perverse incentive structure. And it's not productive, it's destructive. I do think that this is going to be an opportunity because last Congress, while President Trump was the leader of the Republican Party in so many ways, we didn't really have any consequences. Now with President Trump in the White House and what is very clearly a mandate from the American people, any one member of the House Republican Conference can derail his agenda. We have 217 members of the House Republican Conference that have a veto over everything that we do. That's not good, but we do have consequences now. President Trump is not going to allow William Timmons to say, we're going to do what William Timmons wants to do. I didn't win the popular vote in this country. I didn't win every swing state. So I'm on President Trump's team, and I'm going to help move his agenda. And any member of the Republican conference that gets out of line is going to be called to the White House really quick. And I have a feeling President Trump is going to explain to them that they need to get on the team, or there are going to be consequences.
For a man who's been here since 2019, you seem very well grounded. It's easy to try to grab a megaphone and start yelling just to get attention. You have not done that. And I do think that's why you're a gradually rising star in the Republican Party. I know, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
If that embarrasses you, but it's true.
Well,
it's true.
I work hard and I do my best to earn the respect and the trust of my colleagues. And, we've put a lot of points on the board. We've hit a lot of singles and doubles. And I think the people that swing for the fences generally never hit the grand slam they're hoping to.
Is part of the reason why you're able to stay grounded, I read that you go to the same church that you've been going to since you were a child. Has your faith played a role in the work that you do here?
I think, the values that I was taught as a child facilitates success in life. And, I think really the last administration really got away from the values that our country was founded on. God is a central part of this country's history, and there was a lot of godlessness, and the policies that the left was pursuing. Again, I don't like the word deep state, I don't like the word woke, but it describes a real trend in the Democrat policies. And so this woke nonsense was just the result of godlessness. And, they call it progressive values. I call it extreme values. The thought that you're going to allow a child that can't vote, can't smoke, can't drink, can't even serve in the military to cut off their genitalia or to take drugs that would deny them the ability to go through puberty, that's just insane. the fact that they are in favor of allowing a woman to choose to abort a child, which after, I mean, a child can generally survive after 20, 22 weeks in the womb. So, I mean, after that, it's not an abortion, it's an emergency birth and a murder. And so, I mean, their godlessness is another reason that we are where we are in unified government, with President Trump winning the popular vote, winning all the swing states, and us having the majority in the House and the Senate. And we need to deliver on that. The American people want us to deliver on that. They want to have common sense. And I mean, you know, you can view it as Christian values, but really it's just common sense. Yeah. And that's what they want, and that's what we're about to give them.
What are your priorities for this term?
I mean, I think the most important thing is passing the America First tax cuts. We have to get all of these big priorities across the finish line. Reconciliation is the opportunity to do that without a single Democrat voting for it. A lot of the things that we can get done are through executive orders, and that's going to be huge. Really, I view it big picture. There's four main buckets. You have executive orders, which they're going to be signing at a breakneck speed. You have regulation, which a lot of this, we just need to simplify regulation. And there was a Supreme Court case, the Chevron case, where basically Congress has to retake the direction for regulatory reform, and that's a huge opportunity. And then we have reconciliation, which is going to be our biggest way to get kind of these huge items through. And then last is legislation, and that requires 60 votes in the Senate. It requires bipartisanship. And, you know, we have major challenges that we need to face as a Congress in a bipartisan manner, because we can't put it in reconciliation. We can't accomplish it through regulation or through executive orders. So we're going to have to work on all of these things at the same time. And, I mean, there's a lot of reasonable Democrats. I mean, you know, even Fetterman, Senator Fetterman has been so fun to watch kind of transform, you know, but there's a lot of people that just want to help the American people. And I think the Democrats are struggling right now because they don't have a leader, they don't have a direction, they don't have policies. And I mean, they're kind of thrashing about because they don't know what to do. They're playing off the old playbook that didn't work. So they're trying to figure out what to do. I wish them well, but you know, I hope they can appreciate why they're in this position and come back with some better ideas. And we'll continue to debate the future of the country, and maybe they'll have better ideas, maybe they won't.
President Trump has been known to watch our coverage on RSBN. If you had his ear right now, what message would you give him? I
mean, you know, he could be playing golf every day, hanging out in Mar-a-Lago, spending time with his family. And instead he stood in the breach. He took the most insane weaponization of government. They raided his house. They charged him in multiple jurisdictions. I mean, you know, I would say thank you. I would say thank you for standing in the breach. Thank you for not playing golf every day, not, you know, enjoying the life that you've earned, and making this country have an opportunity to be passed to the next generation in a similar shape as this generation received it. Because without him, I don't think that we would have this opportunity. And you know, I think it's worth it. His sacrifice is worth it. Public service is sacrifice. And I mean, you know, every public servant has a degree of sacrifice. We could all be doing something else that would be less challenging and probably less rewarding, less impactful. But his sacrifice is, very impressive given what he could be doing otherwise, and given the challenges that this country has put in front of him to try to stop him. So I would just say thank you.